Welcome to Impulse. Order today, deliver tomorrow. This stopped being considered a bonus a long time ago and is something consumers have come to expect. For the sellers it means internal processes in particular must be perfectly in sync to keep the time from order receipt to order delivery as short as possible. But it's not just mail order trade that has intralogistics at its heart. The manufacturing industry also profits from the reliable, ultra-fast provision of workpieces. So it seems like the perfect time to take a look at the process steps involved in intralogistics, to identify the challenges and to showcase our solutions to overcome them. We'll focus on the control of incoming and outgoing goods, as well as on the further processing, sorting and transportation of goods to the designated storage location. Thank you very much. We'll come back later to you. Now I'm delighted to welcome Giacomo Villano to the studio. Hi Giacomo.
Ciao Philip.
See, we just arrived here in the studio.
Wow, great arrival.
Yeah. But in time. But Giacomo, first of all, thanks for being here today.
It's a pleasure and an honor to be here.
That's great. When I think of intralogistics, I think about large hauls, high bay warehouses, pallets, forklifts, and small AGVs now. What do you think of?
I think that you are totally right. In front of manufacturing and distributing company, there is a big, exciting challenge. The challenge to be fast and efficient in moving goods, raw materials and components. And IFM can be, with these products and with solution, a reliable and highly performing partner to win these kind of challenges.
Which companies do you mean in particular, and what are the challenges?
As I said, the companies are interested are both distributing companies and manufacturing companies. And the challenges are basically to be really performing in moving fast goods, in moving goods in a safe way, with the efficient occupation of the spaces. And these are the main challenges manufacturing and distributing company has in front of them.
You already said IFM is a reliable partner for these companies, and you wouldn't be here if it wouldn't be so. But in your words, if I was a customer, why should I choose IFM? Why should I be convinced that IFM is the perfect partner to keep my intralogistic in an efficient way?
IFM for sure is a reliable and highly performing partner for this kind of customers, because further to, let's say, the most classical technologies used in the intralogistic industry, photoelectric, inductive, pressure, temperature, ASTI, passive connection technology, our company is investing since many years in the new technologies, particularly fitting to provide and to increase the automatization and digitalization in intralogistic processes. Technologies like RFID, like vibration monitoring technology, IO-Link, vision, and particularly the 3D vision, where we are proprietary of the PMD technology. And further to products and solution, IFM has a worldwide presence with a high-performing organization in both manufacturing, distributing, and sales, to be really very close to our customers.
Yeah. Perfect. Giacomo, thank you for this short overview. We will now get into the details in this show. Thank you for being here today.
Very happy to be here.
And I'd say we take a look at how this package made its way to the studio. To do so, we need to go to the start and talk about the incoming and outgoing goods department. And this is what I will do now with Wiebke Behrens and Frank Neuwirth. Hi Wiebke, Frank, great to have you here today.
Hi Philip.
Just for the start, could you briefly explain how essential is it to control the incoming and outgoing goods for an efficient intralogistic?
Sure. the incoming and outgoing good department is the start and the end point of each intralogistic.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, it is also one of the main factors for the delivery quality. If the material is coming through the incoming good department up into the production, and it's getting produced to a product, and then the end product on the way to the shipment is going on the wrong truck due mistake of the forklift driver. Of course, it's not a good solution.
So in this case, you can imagine that you should have a problem on the financial side, on the image side, as well on the timing side.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you lose reliability.
Yeah.
So you brought a miniature edition of the IFM Check and Trace Gate with us. What's the idea behind this? How can this help to increase the quality of the ingoing and outgoing processes?
That's a very good point. So in the past, during the last years, we always have had customers request for gate solutions. We do not have the solution at this time, but the customer would like to identify the products are going in or coming out.
Yeah.
And for this one, we just deliver the components.
Yeah.
So that means for IFM and for the customer, they have to make every step by starting by zero. And that was the point to say, okay, we would like to offer a solution where everything is inside, as well also the things which is a little bit in the second line, like the cabling, like all the modules to connect everything together. So that was also tricky in the time before.
Yeah. Now it's just one click.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and additionally, it's not only the hardware package, it's a solution package. This means that we have additionally to the hardware also the software which is running here on the ZZ1124 on the controller over there.
Yeah.
And this one is handling all the connections to the devices which are connected.
Yeah.
And it is, of course, reducing the complexity for the customer. And it is also preparing the data so that just the pre-selected data is coming into the ERP system.
Yeah.
In the ERP system, we can make a computation with the loading list. And via that way, we can give a feedback to the signal lamp, which is then giving a signal to the forklift driver if the right good was on the way to the truck or if it was the wrong good.
Yeah, perfect. So you have the complete way from the package into the ERP system. It's a completely digitalized solution.
Yes,
which makes it really easy to track and trace the goods. Yeah.
Yes, and it's also one of the first steps on the way to the digital delivery paper.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
So we talked a lot about the check and trace gate. I think we should now see how it really works. Let's demonstrate it.
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
So that was the reason to bring the components with us.
Perfect.
So as you can see, now we have the gate here. The difference in between that we use smaller antennas for this demonstration. Okay. All the other components are taken out of the standard package we would like to deliver to customers.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah? So we have the antennas, we have the signal lights, all the connection components as well, the 3D sensor on top, which is used for the direction detection.
Okay.
So we would like to see if something is going in or coming out.
Yeah.
That's a point.
That's an interesting point, of course. I can see here the IFM package, which is now being delivered through the gate. I'm excited how it works now.
We brought our ERP simulator software with us. Yeah. There we have created a delivery list with up to 3 packages, the 3 which are here on our table.
Okay, perfect.
And now we will just bring the first one into our truck. Imagine over there is a truck. And we just start. Come on.
There he goes.
Voice control.
And when we arrive over there, we can see that the first LED is switching to green. This gate is okay. The second one is just showing that the last package was okay.
All right.
And there's another one which is orange. And just this one shows that the load wasn't complete because we just still miss 2 additional packages.
Okay, so if the 2 will be delivered through it, the third lamp will
also be green. And also, you can imagine if the forklift driver is bringing this package, which was correct, out again, this is a mistake.
Yes,
so we could try this. Let us try. And
yeah, we can hear and see something went wrong.
Okay. And also this complete information are transmitted vice versa from the gate to the controller and to the ERP system, which you can see here, which is just a simulator.
Yeah.
but also the IFM offers directly the connection to, for example, SAP interface.
Yeah, okay. And the forklift driver, of course, can see what he's done wrong on the, display.
Yes, he can see there the OK result, the OK or not OK, the EPC, and also the timestamp, for example.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So maybe let's talk a bit about the performance figures. How many goods can be brought through this gate once on one time?
So the total number of goods we can identify, which one going out or going in, is up to 300 ID tags.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But that's, yes, you're right. That's a huge number because sometimes the customer just would like to identify the pallet or the carrier. Yeah. Sometimes the product, but both is possible, of course. Yeah. And therefore we have this number of 300.
Yeah, perfect. And so last question, is this a standalone version, or what can I do if I can see the gate is working well? I'd like to add other ones. Do I have to do all the same then once again?
The architecture of this solution set is following the idea that we have one master package, which can be extended by 9 extension package. Okay. Those that the maximal setup per one controller is 10 gates on one controller.
Okay, perfect.
And of course, the controller is one of the cost factors. So it is reducing the costs, but it is also helping to reduce the complexity in the direction of the IT system.
Yeah, of course.
So we don't need to plug each gate itself to the IT network structure. Yeah. And we just can do a plug and play setup of the next gate. Yeah. So if the customer is just running the first gate and it's running fine, he just can press a few buttons and the second one is running.
Yeah, so you have really got only one IP address connected, and where all the data are gathered and then sent into the SAP. I think this is a good message for all the IT experts out there. Wiebke, Frank, thank you for being here today. Thank you for demonstrating the IFM check and trace gate.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you.
And we will now see what's the next step our package is taking, and therefore I'm talking now with Benedikt Obermeier. Benedikt, welcome to the warehouse of IFM Imports. Nice to have you here today.
Hi Philip, thank you.
We will talk now about condition monitoring, which is not the first thing I would have in mind when we talk about intralogistics, but of course it's we have a reason for you to have you here. So can you tell us what is the importance of condition monitoring in intralogistics?
Yes, when you look here in this fulfillment center, we have a lot of interesting application, and when you can imagine when you have commercial events like Black Friday or Christmas time or the Cyber Week, then in this time when you have an unexpected failure or hours of unplanned downtime, then it would be a financial nightmare for them. Yeah. And when we start with the first application, we can see here behind myself a depalization process, and normally this depalization process needs a side channel blower to create the under pressure for the vacuum gripper. So if this machine is failing, then you cannot pick anything. Yeah. And Philip, how would it be if you have now a sensor who can give you insights about the conditions of this machine?
Well, as I'm a fan of gathering data, especially my health data on my smartwatch, the answer is clear. I would prefer to have such a data generation. But if I compare it to my smartwatch, it's easy for me to track them, even maybe with a heart rate belt. But is it as easy to collect all the health data of a machine with your solutions?
Yes, so it is very comparable and also so easy. So when we start with the first product, our IO-Link vibration sensor, the VVB, you can mount it on the side channel blower, and then you can monitor it, and you have everything. It is quite plug and play. So you can connect it to the IO-Link master, and the sensor provide everything what you need. We have dedicated process values, and each of these process values has a different meaning what can be changed. So you can collect all of this data, and with this data you get an indicator Is it a bearing damage? Is it unbalanced? Is it looseness? Or is it a lubrication problem, for example?
Okay. So we talked about the blower and the information when it starts to fail, maybe. But when I think about all the conveyors in a warehouse, this could also be a good application or a good place to use the VVB in combination with IO-Link.
Yes, you're absolutely right. When we think we have in this warehouse maybe hundreds of kilometers of conveyors, and all of these conveyors have electrical motor who move the belt of the conveyor. And there it is with IO-Link and the vibration sensor VVB, it is quite easy to scale up. Because if you have a new conveyor or a new critical motor, you can add a new IO-Link master and a new vibration sensor, and then you are done.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah, perfect. But the VVB and in combination with IO-Link is not the only solution you offer for condition monitoring.
Yes.
So I would say we get a step further in this setting here and see what you've got also in the portfolio.
Yes,
Right.
let's do it.
So let's go. So Benedict, I would say to get a better overview, let's move upward a bit.
Yes, let's do it. So, Philip, we talked about the implementation effort.
Yeah.
So, when we look behind me, we have here a high dynamic lift. And for this application, for the second application, what we have here, the VSE is perfect because you can mount it now with the new VSE 9 series. You can mount it in the field, so you don't need a cabinet anymore. And this brings you a lot of flexibility. And it is everything mounted on the infrastructure. So,
yeah, perfect. Easy. Again, less amount of cables and less amount of time to implement.
yes.
Yeah, perfect. So let's talk a bit about the performance of condition monitoring. How early can condition monitoring detect an upcoming failure?
Yes, so when we have the VSE and when we talk about the diagnostic unit, then the VSE has broadband monitoring functionality and also narrowband analysis functionality. So this means you can always monitor a special frequency, for example, the frequency of your bearing. And if on this frequency, if the value is increasing, then you know the bearing has a problem.
Okay.
So in this case, you are very close on the process, and this gives you the possibility to detect a failure weeks or even months before it failed completely.
Okay. So there's no chance to detect this failure by manual controls.
Yes. So maybe when we look on the crossbelt sorter, so there you have also a very high dynamic process. So Philip, can you imagine that this crossbelt sorter can sort up to 18,000 parcels per hour?
No, that's a lot.
Yes, and if you imagine when you do there only manual maintenance work, maybe you can capture a sudden failure, and then 18,000 parcels cannot deliver in time.
That's a huge problem, I think.
Yes.
So you can with condition monitoring, you can detect the failure and then maintain the machine without standstills.
Yes, you can plan it perfect and very uncomplicated, so you can prepare everything.
Perfect. So Benedict, I think we can go downwards again. Thank you for giving us an overview today about the condition monitoring solutions IFM offers for the Intralogistics.
Thank you, Philip, for the invitation.
It was a pleasure and I hope to see you soon next time.
Yes.
But it's not just us in the hall who depends on our solutions. Our customer JR Automation creates material handling solutions for its customers and also relies on IFM products. Jack Wassam and Ryan Baumann, together with my colleague Kerry Grimmer, will now reveal what this looks like in day-to-day operations. Hi Jack and Ryan. Hi Kerry.
Thanks for having us.
Jack, first of all, thanks for visiting us today. Can you explain which solutions JR Automation offers the logistics industry?
For sure. From a machine side, we offer palletizing, depalletizing, storage retrieval, robotic solution, material handling. Pretty much any custom design or application you would want to go over, we would work on that. And as part of our specific division, which is called high volume, we specialize in bringing that solution to scale multiple times throughout the country, even cross country or in other countries. We also have some AGV offerings, and we have some software solutions. For example, we integrate with Hitachi's Lumada, which is a data analytics platform for the Internet of Things. And we have some other integrations around optimized docking, material tracking throughout a plant. And we're working on building out some other things for plant supply chain.
Why did you decide to collaborate with IFM in creating these solutions?
Yeah, initially it was cost. IFM was really competitive on their cost for IO-Link master and slave blocks. As we started to work with IFM, I think we've also just come to like them as a kind of preferred IO-Link use case just for the ease of integration. Some of the other vendors, they tend to have more complicated setup processes, more complicated settings. They're harder to get to things within their menus. You have to refer to the manual. We've just found with IFM that it's really straightforward. When we do have questions, the support is great. And it really works well for using not only with their own IFM devices, but using other IO-Link devices with the IFM IO-Link master setup. And we really like that.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, Jack, something that came up was an integration of a couple third-party devices that we did not have an add-on instruction for at the time, and they, JR Automation as they are, pushed us to help them develop some of those add-on instructions to hopefully make the integration a little easier, and that in turn added to our own internal library.
So Kerry, is JR Automation a typical example or rather a role model for trend-setting automation with IO-Link in the logistics industry? And can you give us a few exclusive insights into how the industry is set to develop in the future?
Absolutely. So I wouldn't call JR Automation typical in any way. They are super innovative. They're very disruptive when they take a technology. They started with our IO-Link blocks, and they pushed us to the limit on some new applications and ways to integrate them, not only with the IO-Link, but with 3D cameras on some of their sizing and different distance sensing applications. So they're no way typical. They're absolutely a leader. They're always willing to try new technologies and to push the technology further than maybe we intended it or thought it could be used. A couple examples that Jack referenced was not only doing the sensing applications on the machine, but taking that real-time sensor information and machine data and pushing that up to the next level, which is going to be key in this whole logistics industry for track and trace, to do predictive maintenance, to prevent downtime or machine stoppages, and then also to decrease errors so that they know where these items are at all time. And that in turn helps increase the overall equipment efficiency, or the OEE, which number one is what the customers are looking for, and then in turn helps JR sell and become a better provider to their other potential customers out there.
Ryan, besides IO-Link, you also utilize other solutions from IFM, such as 3D technology. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, that's correct. Recently in one of our projects, we reached out to Kerry. He led us on to the O3D series, it gives us the opportunity to delve into more advanced picking applications. It gives us a 3D point cloud view, and it kind of allows us to collect more data per pick than a traditional sensor, which can really help for tricky applications where there's unforeseen edge cases that we might need to handle. And then another great benefit about the O3D series is the small form factor, and then the driver is housed in the unit, so everything is right within the camera itself. And then on top of the hardware, IFM also offers IFM Vision Assistant, which is a super easy to work with software, and it kind of helps us develop a robust solution. So it's been nice to work with these cameras.
And Ryan selling himself short, they've actually shown on some of their first installs with there's always some items or issues that come up. They've really pushed Vision Assistant and used our technical group to help fine-tune the camera with some filtering and different algorithm settings and changes that we've worked with them on to help make the application more stable for JR and in turn for their customers. So we've learned as much by working with JR as I think they probably have with us.
Carrie, IFM offers a broad and diverse range of vision systems for both stationary and mobile solutions. I therefore assume that the applications in which IFM supports its customers as a partner are correspondingly versatile and demanding. Am I right?
That's very true, Philip. What we've learned through working with JR in the material handling industry is that things have to happen much faster and more quickly on the move in order for them to meet their OEE, their overall equipment efficiency demands for their customer. They can't have a stoppage in the production or in the material moving. They have to be able to analyze it, read it, identify it, and get it to the right place while these boxes and parcels are in motion. So going from 2D to 3D, you have more data that you have to analyze at a faster rate through IO-Link and through 3D interfacing directly to the controllers to be able to do sorting and keep the robots safe and keep people safe and to keep the production at a high rate. So we're learning to adapt our IO-Link technology, our RFID technology, and especially the 3D imaging scanning technology to work at a higher rate. And our next generation in O3R, I think, will help with that tremendously.
Thank you guys for taking the time.
Wow. Thank you, Philip.
We're approaching the final stage for our package, and so it's time to discover the benefits of our solutions for AGVs, something our customer ASTI Mobile Robotics has been doing for many years. Find out now why the company relies on IFM for the automation of its autonomous vehicles. Roll it.
Soy el director de operaciones de ASTI Mobile Robotics Group, una empresa que se dedica ya desde hace muchos años a la logística interna, a automatizar los procesos de logística interna de nuestros clientes a través de vehículos autónomos o vehículos sin conductor, lo que llamamos AGVs, vehículos de guiado automático. En nuestros vehículos de guiado automático, ya hace unos años estuvimos buscando y haciendo un barrido de mercado para ver qué controladores y qué dispositivos colocar en los propios vehículos. De acuerdo a una serie de pruebas y de pruebas de concepto y de test, nos decidimos por la marca IFM. El controlador IFM que ponemos en nuestras máquinas es el encargado y el responsable de gobernar toda la máquina. Elegimos el IFM principalmente por su calidad. ¿Por qué? Porque en las aplicaciones móviles tenemos que soportar vibraciones, tenemos que soportar temperaturas, tiene que ser muy compacto y tiene que ser capaz de soportar situaciones en ambientes muy agresivos. Uno de los aspectos más relevantes fue por el servicio técnico. En la primera toma de contacto, evidentemente, habíamos trabajado a nivel de sensórica y de otro tipo de dispositivos, pero necesitábamos hacer un proceso de migración de otro tipo de controladores o de PLCs a este nuevo controlador. En ese proceso tuvimos un gran soporte por parte del servicio técnico de IFM que se ha ido prolongando a lo largo de los años y luego el proceso ha sido muy enriquecedor para ambas partes. Desde el punto de vista de los datos y relacionado con la industria 4.0, podemos decir que todas nuestras máquinas están conectadas y sabemos lo que le pasa a cada una. Cada una va escribiendo qué le está pasando a lo largo de su vida. Ahí creemos también que a través del nuevo controlador de IFM y de la evolución que este tiene que sufrir, evidentemente, podemos hacer un gran trabajo conjuntamente.
After this impressive example of one of our customers, I can't wait to chat now about AGVs in a little bit more detail with one of our experts. Hi Garrett, thanks for joining us today. As you've already seen in the application video, an AGV has to collect a lot of information about its surroundings to navigate safely. How many and what kind of cameras and sensors are needed for this?
Robots are not unlike humans in that they require multi-sensor approaches to navigate through their environment. As humans, we use our 5 senses in order to operate efficiently in our environment. For robotics, they use a host of different sensing modalities in order to efficiently navigate through their environment. Modalities such as safety lidars to detect humans, ultrasonic sensors to detect clear objects or glass, We have 2D cameras that can read codes for either home position or codes on a pallet, for example, in order to understand the product on the pallet. And then we have 3D cameras that are utilized for detecting objects above or below the safety LiDAR, as well as detecting loads in front of the vehicle, such as the pose of a pallet when picking up with an automated fork truck. There's not one camera system that can do all of these different tasks. Just like our 5 senses, there's not one that does everything. And so the most efficient robots in the fleet today are utilizing a combination of all of these sensing principles in order to operate efficiently in their environment.
IFM has now launched the camera sensor platform O3R. How does this solution support the PLC in terms of processing the data and information from sensors and cameras?
Traditional robots in the past attempted to utilize one processing platform to control all aspects of the robot. As we started to modernize, we've started to add the different sensing modalities that we talked about earlier, and those sensing modalities generate a tremendous amount of data. That data is starting to really tax traditional PLCs. So what we see in the modern architecture is splitting the perception portion of the task into a separate compute platform, one that requires both CPU and GPU, the GPU being really required for high-end perception tasks. The O3R platform takes a step of, instead of requiring the customer to go find that computation, we actually provide that computation in the form of an industrial NVIDIA Jetson platform. This platform allows the customer to bring in multiple cameras, both 2D, 3D. It allows the customer to bring in cameras from different suppliers and provides the entire compute to the customer to allow them to process this data as needed.
That sounds like a highly efficient but also complex platform. How does IFM make sure that the integration into the AGV still works without any problems at all?
Robotics is an extremely complex problem statement. And what we found over the last 4 to 5 years is the complexity is not so much in any one of those camera systems or any one of those sensing modalities, but it's more so in how do you integrate all of those into a holistic solution. And so what IFM is concentrating on here with the O3R platform is reducing friction for the integration of multi-camera, multimodal solution. Now we're doing that with 3 different types of approaches. The first being we created an open environment. By the use of Docker container, we allow the customer to program in any language they would like, simplifying the approach to algorithm development. The second is providing tools to the customer. Tools such as its extrinsic calibration routines or time synchronization routines. These are known things in the environment, but it's still work that needs to be done in every solution. So we're providing these tools to allow simplification of that. And then third, again, coming back to the idea of allowing all different devices into this platform. We're making it simple for the customer to integrate any device they require in order to solve their perception problem.
Got it. Thank you for joining us today. So finally, we've managed to follow our package on its complete journey through our Intralogistics. Thank you for your interest on this episode, and I'd be delighted if you would join us again next time. Until then, take care and stay healthy.